All right, y'all, your boy is posted up in a bathroom right now because I'm in some stranded, deserted island where I have no Wi-Fi. I'm literally off a hotspot with like -4 bars. So, you know, we're powering through it. If this is a sign for y'all to never stop grinding, this is one. Not that, you know, making YouTube videos and streaming is really that hard, but like remaining consistent. But anyway, Homixide Beno is coming at Lil Uzi Vert, which is a bit of a predicament because of the recent Playboi Carti removal of his feature on Pink Tape, wherein there are conspiracies that essentially he was actually supposed to be on Pink Tape, so Uzi was definitely not lying, and that could apply to previous projects, whereas Uzi said he was going to be on a whole lot of Red, and then it didn't end up actually happening, and Carti only put Kanye and Future on it. Aside from all that, we're talking about Beno, who, as you may or may not know, is part of Homixide Gang, signed to Playboi Carti's Opium label, and he was coming at Uzi saying like he was essentially biting his father, Playboi Carti, which is a little bit hypocritical considering, as I said, he is Playboi Carti's son, in that they would not be anybody right now. I'm not saying like in street code or whatever, like I'm sure they were popping in the streets, but like nobody was listening to your music before you signed to Playboi Carti. So if you're gonna say that Uzi is biting Carti's sound, like, yo, the only reason you're famous is because you're rapping the same ad-libs that Carti put you onto and the same beats from all of the Opium producers. Like, bro, this is the dumbest argument I have ever heard in my life. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, essentially, he posted on his Instagram story last night. I don't even remember what day it is anymore. I guess Pink Tape dropped last night. I did not sleep. I pulled an all-nighter because I had to hop onto a flight. But only a few hours after Pink Tape released, which was a highly anticipated album by Uzi and just in hip-hop in general, he posted, "People find a way to be just like us, shit ass 0055," which is just like a signature for 00 Opium and 55. His Instagram username is Homixide Beno. Now, I don't know why it's 5. Maybe it's because that's the type of children he likes. I mean, he already had them allegations. Maybe that's why he's hating on Uzi, because Uzi is forever young, that he posted on his Twitter. So he's like, damn, I don't want this competition reaching out to the kids. He wants it all to himself in his Instagram DMs. And I wouldn't know because he blocked me after those allegations surfaced, which it's like, is it really my fault that you partook in some questionable activities? No, we just gotta talk about it because you are famous at this point. And with that being said, when you are famous, you cannot say things like this, especially when you are signed to Playboi Carti, who is potentially friends with Lil Uzi Vert, maybe not, because there's a little bit of drama lately because, again, as I said before, Carti pulled out of the Pink Tape album. And if I was Uzi, not seeing me personally, I'd be kind of heated too, especially because Uzi was kind of teasing that him and Carti were going to take over the world, and then that one song leaked on YouTube wherein his label, I mean, it just seems orchestrated by the way that released only on YouTube and underneath another song title and a featuring Don Toliver, but it was definitely a different song, and that seemed to be the song that was going to be on the project, especially because it sounded like Whole Lotta Red V2, like 2020 SRT type era of Uzi and Carti, still on that baby fetus voice, and now he's on his more rock star grunge metal type sound for the next project, if he even releases one that is heavily influenced by Filthy's production. Now, which relates to what we're talking about in today's video, in that Uzi on Pink Tape, as we all know, dropped a very experimental project. I understand why some people are gonna love it and why some people are gonna hate it, because it was so different in that it had rave tracks, it had metal tracks, it had a whole bunch of different genres, not just subgenres. But again, we already discussed all this, so I don't need to go over it again. But I can see why even Homixide Beno is coming at Uzi saying that he's biting Carti, because Carti is deemed as the rapper who kind of like broke down the barriers for experimental albums, at least as of late, because everybody, especially in the internet era, you kind of have to drop projects where you make the same thing over and over, the da baby effect, if you will, wherein the songs just won't do well if, you know, you're not fitting that one cookie cutter type sound that the fans loved you for, or else they're gonna come at you in the comments saying, you fell off, I love the old insert rapper name. And because Playboi Carti released Whole Lotta Red, which was very rock influenced, although I don't think it was as heavy metal as Uzi's latest project, Pink Tape, although his next project, from all the snippets and leaks that we've heard as of late, it definitely sounds like he was already working on this type of vibe. Whereas Uzi last year, or the year before, 2021, 2022, Uzi was still kind of on this like hyper pop, xylophone, Brandon Finesse and fruity type beats, so wasn't really that recent. But at the same time, Uzi, since the beginning of his career, has always been rocking this like rock star aesthetic. Maybe not like the spiked hair and whatnot, but he would put like more alternative type melodies into rap songs, which is the reason he blew up in the first place. It was way different than what hip hop was at the time before 2016, as well as his performances. Although I wouldn't say he was full on metal rock star until the latest project, Pink Tape. So again, I see where Beno's coming from, but I don't know why he would be saying this, especially knowing that it could very well cause some drama between Uzi and Carti, because Uzi could go to Carti, if they're still friends that is, and be like, yo, why is your artist dissing me? This is a terrible look, because Carti does not speak, as we all know. So anything that one of his affiliates or artists say, it almost represents what he is saying, because again, he's essentially a mime now. I mean, he is wearing the clown makeup, so it all makes sense. And especially with what happened with the removal of the feature, like the drama could be exacerbated past the point of what it really was, because at the very end, it seemed like Carti was trying to get on the project. It was just too late. It was the day before Uzi was dropping Pink Tape, and there was just no time to record a new feature without pushing back the release date, which Uzi had been already doing for like the last 2 years. But luckily, we do have some Opium signees, that being Destroy Lonely and Ken Carson, that Uzi is actually cool with, because he let them perform with him in Thailand or like Canada or something, brought them on stage, let them perform their songs on his platform, whereas Uzi is basically one of the largest artists in the world. I'd say top 5 rapper if we're talking like strictly sales. I think Pink Tape will push like 200k, give or take 20k or so. Not to mention that Ken Carson actually produced one of the tracks on Pink Tape, X2. So obviously Ken and Lil Uzi Vert are cool, and I would assume the same thing with Destroy Lonely, because Ken and Lone are tight. So it just causes a huge rift between Carti and Uzi's camp, especially when Beno is calling the album trash as opposed to just not saying a word, because just because you don't like an album doesn't mean that you can't appreciate why other people would like it just because it's so different. Because if we're looking at Homixide Gang's music, it's literally like a copy and paste of, you know, a street style of Playboi Carti, or at least what he used to make. So he has literally no room to speak at all, being one of Playboi Carti's son, whereas he's calling Uzi a biter, when in reality, as I said before, Beno and Homixide Gang are just literally copycats of Carti in essence. They have some good songs, but let's be honest here. So with all that being said, Homixide Beno must have the IQ of like a squirrel to be saying this, not realizing the position he's in, wherein if he was not signed to Playboi Carti, he would literally be nobody. He'd still be playing Fortnite out on the streets, guzzling all sorts of blue liquids, shall I say. And I think anyone who has been listening to music since the SoundCloud era started in like 2016 would know exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't a hot take whatsoever. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about this situation. Is Homixide Beno right about Uzi jacking Playboi Carti swag? Pause. Or was Uzi one of the co-founders of this whole rockstar aesthetic and sound in the first place, starting from basically a decade ago, alongside Playboi Carti, who in those times definitely was not making any sort of music similar to this, whereas Uzi, I feel like, has had a more natural progression, whereas Carti just like flips the switch into different sounds every couple of years. It's been your boy Bobbalam signing off. Again, in the bathroom looking for Homixide Beno's career in the toilet over there. There's definitely a whole lot of something, and it stinks. And of course, make sure to like and subscribe on the Bob Gang if you with it. Peace out, people. Nice seeing.